Welcome to Behind the Future. I'm your host, Becky, and today I have a wonderful co-host, the lovely Sophie. Sophie, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Sophie-Kim. I'm in year 12 at the moment. I study law, politics, and sports science. My favorite being sport. I kind of aspire to be in the sports industry. I'm not picky. But yeah, that's just a bit about me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we have the most wonderful guest with us, the wonderful Hannah. Hannah, tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Hannah, and I'm the Global Content and Social Media Manager at Harlequin Floors. And yeah, that's basically me.
Fantastic. Well, straight over to Sophie for the first question.
Well, my first question would be, so that the audience can get to know you, can you please tell us just a bit about your role? What is that kind of day to day?
So yeah, I manage the content and social media for Harlequin. So that could be out filming, interviewing clients, and then it could be back in the office, video editing, getting that all together, and then the social media. So then getting it out to all the clients, website content as well. So yeah, a bit of everything to do with content and socials, basically.
No.
Fantastic. Sounds like no 2 days are the same.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Very busy.
And how did you get into doing this?
So I did multimedia journalism at university. Never thought I'd want to be a journalist or that sort of thing. But it kind of just gave me the skills in like video production, editing, actually like presenting skills and stuff, like everything you would need to kind of be a journalist. But I've kind of just taken those multimedia skills. I kind of just brought that in-house to a company. So I guess I'm still kind of, making all that sort of content, but now just for one company instead of like the newsy kind of side of things.
Yeah. In sixth form, what did you study in and how did you kind of get into that? How did you find out about it?
So at A-levels at school, I did maths, geography and media studies. And I was basically trying to decide between teaching, kind of the maths route, or media, which are obviously very different.
Very different.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until I kind of looked around some universities really, and got to see whether it's even something I wanted to do. Uni doesn't have to be the only route you take.
Yeah.
And then, it was just kind of go to those open days, seeing how fun it would be. And I realised the course I did was quite broad. So it's kind of just going to give me skills in some different areas. I thought that means that I'm not kind of having to go down one route even after I graduate sort of thing. So yeah, I guess kind of transferable skills as well are just as important as deciding kind of what avenue you want to go down. So yeah, that's why I decided media instead of teaching in the end.
No. And what university did you go to?
I went to Southampton, Solent. So not too far away. It's about 2-hour drive. And yeah, I loved uni. Really, really loved it. Yeah, it was so good.
And was it hard choosing which university to go to?
It was, yeah. I think once I kind of, to start with, I looked at kind of Canterbury, for example, because it's one of the local ones, to Kent, obviously. And after I decided multimedia journalism was the course I wanted to do, that kind of helped narrow down the universities anyway, because it was quite a niche course. So yeah, once kind of narrowed it down anyway to that, I was deciding between Canterbury and into Southampton. So it was actually quite easy to decide in the end.
Good. Is that something you're looking at the moment?
Yeah, like thinking about different paths of going down and things like that. It is difficult. So then my next question would be, for someone who is kind of struggling to decide like what path to go down, did you ever have any moments where you just thought maybe this isn't for me, or kind of how did you navigate through that doubt?
Yeah, I think that's always something that can happen. I think when you're not sure what you want to do, sometimes I think you just need to realise that even if you end up doing geography, it doesn't mean that you have to stick in geography for your whole career. I think there's so many transferable skills in so many different courses, whether that's university or an apprenticeship or whatever you decide to do. I think it's just knowing that it's not set in stone. So kind of just focusing on what you enjoy, what you feel passionate about, sometimes can be the easiest way for you to figure out what actually you want to do, like what's going to make you happy, what's going to make you want to get up in the morning and actually do it, than just maybe trying to please others or think just because I have to do it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I know that you personally said you loved uni. So what was your kind of favourite part of uni?
Oh, that's a good question. I want to say like all the friends and people I met. I think I was really lucky with the circle that I've got. And I think with uni, you meet so many different people. But I think because of that, for example, my course, doing multimedia journalism, you almost learn through the people you meet anyway, whether that's actually people on my course or lecturers and everything. So, or guest lecturers and people that come in, kind of do some guest speaking and things like that. As much as I learned things from the practical courses and things, just actually chatting to people in the industry already and things, I think it's just as exciting and quite fun to be able to do.
Love it. Were you able to get work experience whilst you were at uni?
Yeah, I was quite lucky in that sense. It was part of the course. So I did a week at ITV Meridian and a week at Channel 5 News. Obviously, because it was journalism, it was still obviously more like newsy side. And yeah, I loved doing and being able to just experience it hands in. Like we kind of had a newsroom set up at uni, so we did news days where from the start of the day we'd get a news story, we'd have to go out, film it, come back, edit it, get it up on YouTube and make a news story before the end of the day. So getting able to learn how to do that and then actually put that into practice in a work placement was just really good, really fun.
And did you know whilst you were studying that you didn't want to do the more kind of newsy route of it? Or was that afterwards that you started to work out?
I think it was something that I learned to love along the way, because it wasn't really something that I set out to do. I remember my dad being like, you barely like watch the news, or you're going to need to learn more about that as well. But actually the fast-paced environment and everything that a newsroom can give you, I really, really loved in the end. It wasn't until my final year of uni and COVID happened, and then I got my first job, I kind of just ended up pivoting away from it, and still finding a job that I love, which is, I guess what I said earlier about it's not always set in stone what happened and what you need to do. So yeah.
No, it's good. It's nice to know that, isn't it? Because I think there's a lot of pressure, isn't there, to feel like you're making the right decision for the rest of your life. But there's so many different pathways you can take.
Exactly. Yeah. And for you now, obviously, I know that like a lot of people pivot in their life, but as you said, not everything is set in stone. Does this feel like something that you'll stay in, or do you think that you can see a potential pivot again? Where would that kind of lead you to?
I think with the job that I have now, I am quite lucky that there's so many opportunities I could go down. And you said because I kind of handle the content creation, I could go down the more videographer route and focus more on filming and developing those skills. But then I also really like writing the copy and stuff. So I kind of do all the writing as well. So that's another route. Social media management is a whole nother job in itself. So yeah, I think it's just nice that I kind of have basic skills to kind of go down those different avenues. So yeah, I guess I don't really know what's next, and that's exciting because too many opportunities to decide what to focus on, if that makes sense.
It's a good place to be, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a good place to be. And then, so when you left uni, what was your first full-time job?
So I had a PR job. It was kind of PR and social media, actually, which is kind of how I ended up going down that route. But yeah, it was a PR agency based in London. I only went in 3 times because, like I said, it was towards the end of lockdowns and that sort of stuff. But yeah, so it was more like press releases. I was a junior account executive, so it was a lot of writing agendas and kind of chatting to the clients and then kind of social media content and that sort of thing. So that was my first job out of uni, and I was there for 9 months.
Okay, and how did you find the kind of agency style of it?
I loved the agency style. I think, I mean, better than I do, but because you tend to work with different clients, every day is different in that sense, because one day you could be working with one client and the next day another, or it can even differ from hour to hour if you've got a call with various clients throughout the day. So yeah, I kind of liked the idea that it was just always something different. But at the same time, when you got given your set of clients, they were yours, and you can kind of really build up that relationship with the clients that you have, and kind of become like a little extension of their team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah. And I guess like the PR environment, I'm not sure we've ever had anyone on the podcast that's talked about PR before, but that is very, some things will be planned and you can really think about it for a while. But then there are those kind of more newsletter type things where it's got to happen today. We've got to get a comment out on this, or sometimes a bit of damage control as well. Did you have any experience? What kind of work were you doing there over those 9 months?
Yeah, so a lot of it was kind of quite planned, and we were able to kind of have time to prep things. Social media might be kind of more things that if there's like industry news that's come up and they want to react to it, that's always quite a quick turnaround. But then, yeah, otherwise it's kind of, it could be a product release or things like that as well, that kind of need a bigger press brief writing for. So yeah, it definitely changed every day.
Yeah, which is good, really good. Nice to know that every day you've got a surprise coming. You don't know what's coming.
Yeah, it was weird going from the more journalism side to actually the PR side. So before I'd be the ones like having to write the story and do that part, but then actually being the one on the PR side, having to then be the one to pitch to those journalists. So I kind of got to experience both sides of it as well, which was quite cool.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that.
So what I've gathered is that you kind of enjoy having that fast pace of kind of not knowing. And I think that is such a valuable thing to have. So would you say that you prefer kind of, obviously you said that sometimes you would know what's happening, but sometimes you wouldn't. Would you say that you prefer being able to kind of predict what's going to happen? Or do you just kind of like it when it's just a random day around the thing?
Well, that's a good question. I do like to have a plan and know what's happening, especially in the job I am now. It's, I know how my day is going to kind of be from start to finish, if I make sure that I've done enough preparation. But at the same time, it is nice, I think, when you are kind of put under pressure. I think it just, I don't know, I kind of get a bit more drive in me to almost like problem solve. If something comes up and you have to quickly be like, okay, what now? What do I do? And I think sometimes it can just make the day go quicker. It's a bit more exciting. Yeah. I think as well, then afterwards you can feel just like you've really achieved something. When it's gone well, you can just give yourself a pat on the back, like, yes, it's going good.
Yeah, that makes sense. And is there anything, do you think, prior to going into the world of work that could have prepared you for that kind of fast pace of the real world of work, and especially in that kind of more, whether it's the journalism environment, the PR, the social media, it is quite reactive and you do get curveballs. Is there anything, thinking of someone that's maybe in sixth form right now listening to this, or like Sophie, that can start to kind of prepare them to be agile and be ready to be able to move? Because I guess school's quite predictable, isn't it? You know what lessons you're going to have. You're in a timetabled environment. The world of work isn't often like that.
Mm-hmm. I think, like you said, you're not exactly going to be able to change your school's kind of day-to-day life. Whether that's getting work experience, even if it's just a day, just to kind of actually see what it's like. And it doesn't even have to be in the industry that you really want to go into. Sometimes just getting that first-hand experience is the best way. Like, say, being thrown into the deep end can be very scary. Actually, it is probably the quickest and easy way to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah. Was there anything, did you do any part-time jobs when you were younger that helped at all, do you think, to prepare you?
What did I do well, my first ever job was working in a care home.
Okay.
And that was fun. I guess that kind of more, it was more communication skills, and that sort of thing. And then it was just retail jobs. But again, like communication skills, learning as on the job, teamwork. I think basic skills like that actually help you go really far. It's only, like I said, have to be specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, just anything to get you out there and just like, show that you can do it as well.
Just a quick note from me. We'd love you to hit the subscribe button. This helps us more than you might realise when it comes to growing this podcast, ensuring we can bring you the best guests possible. Thank you. Back to the episode. So Hannah, tell us, what does Harlequin do?
So Harlequin Floors is in the performing arts industry. So it could be dance floors for the Royal Ballet, Royal Academy of Dance, needing a sprung floor so they can dance safely. Or it could be like theatre floors, so lots of stages, event floors. We do a really nice shiny floor, so like on a fashion catwalk or exhibitions. So yeah, basically flooring for dancers, stages, events, architects, cruise ships, a bit of everything really.
Wow, super interesting. Something we would never have really thought about before.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of information lets me know that you've definitely seen some interesting things. So what would you say are the most interesting projects you've been involved in?
So we've got lots of exciting clients, as you can imagine, with the performing arts industry. Some of them we're not even allowed to mention and talk about. But there's films like Wicked, which is probably one of the most recent ones, which is really exciting. Just kind of making sure that they had the rehearsal spaces to, rehearse safely when they're doing it every day, again and again. They need to have that good surface beneath them. And then for me personally, the more exciting projects is when I get to travel and film abroad. So like the Vienna Opera House, that was one of my first kind of big work trips, getting to film there because we had a new product coming out. So yeah, things like that for me personally are probably the most exciting part of my job.
And a project like that, how do you get to plan it from start to finish? So the company says, right, we've got this new product coming, we're going to go to Vienna and film it. So do you get to kind of architect what you're going to film and how the video is going to come together and what uses you're going to have for it, etc.?
Yeah, so I'll just use Vienna as an example, as it's just the one I mentioned. I'd fly out with our installers and I'd film the installation process and then a bit after as well. And yeah, from start to finish, it'll kind of be me liaising with the marketing team, getting sign off afterwards as well. And then yeah, filming, putting it all together and then working with the marketing team back in the UK to make sure it's all okay to send to the client for approval, pretty much.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And these are things that you just wouldn't think about, on a day-to-day. It wouldn't be I'm gonna get a job, let me do this. So how did you kind of get into it? How did you find this job? What was the interview process?
So when I was in the PR company that I just mentioned before, I'd started to realise that it wasn't really what I wanted to go down. So I thought about, starting just to see what else is out there. And I just had my CVs on a few job sites, and then a recruiter just called me up. Hadn't even spoken to that recruiting agency before, and just had this job, told me about it, and that's kind of how I found it. So I kind of just stumbled across it, especially that I said with, flooring and performing arts. I didn't even know it existed before I worked in it. So yeah, I think that was how I found it really, just getting a phone call and thinking, this sounds interesting. Yeah.
And what was the interview process like?
So I had one call with the marketing manager, and that was really just for me to hear more about the job, and then also obviously just learning about me. I'll say that bit again. Learning about me and my experiences, and then the second bit was actually going in, meeting the wider team, and yeah, that was basically, so it was just a 2-stage interview process.
Nice.
Yeah, a bit easier than some of them. I know they can be like various tests and kind of assignments that you have to do before you get the job. So I was very lucky that it was quite chilled.
Yeah. So I think that you'd have to be quite an open-minded person to do something like that, which I'm kind of gathering. Would you say that with a lot of the things you do have to be open-minded, as in if you get given a project, do you always see the vision for it, or sometimes you're a bit wary?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think one of the first things I'll do is always have a call with the client, especially if it's kind of a bigger project, and kind of just to hear from them and what I can get out of it. But I think from Harlequin's point of view, like a lot of my work is more testimonial, case study focused, because it's all well and good Harlequin saying we're the global leaders and we're great, but actually hearing from the people that have our flaws and have our products is what I think speaks louder and kind of gets the point across that you know, we are the safest and the best in what we do. So hearing from the client and why they have Harlequin as part of their, you know, line of work, that kind of is what helps me figure out where I want to take it, because I try to make sure it's about the clients and their journey and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Definitely. And was someone doing the job before you, or was this a new role that was created?
It was kind of a new role. So we're quite a small team anyway, but they hadn't really had a person just managing the content. So yeah, it kind of was a new role. There wasn't really someone that I could shadow and learn from, which I guess sometimes is easier because you can
create your own direction for
exactly, yeah. So it was nice to kind of have that freedom and figure out what worked and what didn't, and everything like that. So yeah, it was kind of a new role, to be honest.
Yeah, and that kind of creative view as to how do we do these kind of testimonial videos if we hadn't been doing lots of them before. And I guess that gives you a nice amount of scope, but also could be a bit scary as your second job. Suddenly you're thrown into, okay, I've got a lead here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I think I kind of thrived in that environment, and I was quite lucky that, like, we always have a great team at Harlequin. It's very supportive, and I think sometimes your work environment can change your job completely.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely helped.
So with your role being so creative, how do you avoid kind of creative burnout? How do you keep coming up with ideas? How do you keep it fresh?
I think that I'm quite lucky in the job that I have because there's so many different avenues with Harlequin, and the fact that every client's story is different, it does help that it doesn't feel as repetitive. Obviously, I'm in-house, it's the same sort of industry every day, but yeah, it does feel that it does vary. So I think that's kind of how I avoid burnout, because I don't want it to be repetitive. So being able to also film one day and then be in the office with everyone the next is nice.
Yeah. Do you think you had any big misconceptions when you were maybe back, whether it was at sixth form or while you were at uni, about the world of work that are different now you're in the world of work and you kind of wish you'd known that before?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that response. What's different? What was the question again, sorry?
So whether there were any misconceptions that you had previously thinking about what work was going to be like to what it's actually like now you're kind of, 5-6 years into your career?
Yeah, I think when you haven't done it before, it can be really scary just because it's such a change. And almost, for me, it was more the really small things, like when's my lunch break? If it's not really obvious, it can kind of be hard to navigate the do's and don'ts until you learn that. But I've been really lucky with the two companies I worked for. They've both been so lovely. So yeah, I feel like I haven't had the intense corporate experience.
Yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah, because you do go from being at school where it is very rigid, you have your lunch break, to suddenly it's like, oh, do I go at 12? Could I go at 1? Do I have an hour? What do I do?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to leave my desk?
Yeah, exactly. And knowing what to do at that time as well. It's like, what should I do?
And I guess the biggest lesson, even if it is in a corporate environment, is just ask, because it's better to ask, isn't it, than to be worried, am I doing it wrong? Have I gone at the wrong time? Or am I turning up in the wrong clothing? Or I don't know, all those silly little things that we can really worry ourselves about.
Yeah.
Just ask.
Yeah.
We're just human. And actually the person on the other end, even if you feel like it's a silly question, they'd rather you asked it than worried about it.
100%. I think that just shows that you care and you're present and you want to learn, like whether that is something really basic or a detailed, job that you've got or project you're working on. I think it just shows that you want to learn and you're there.
Yeah, definitely. Are you starting to use AI with your work?
Yes, a little bit. So I don't try not to. I mean, I've used it in the sense of ChatGPT kind of helping brainstorm, or even just, it can be good to even kind of check typos and things like that, but I'd rather not. I try not to. I think I've always said that don't rely on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it can be quite beneficial. The other way I've used it, I've been working on a CPD at the moment, and we're doing a German one. Because I'm global, I kind of have to work in different languages a lot of the time.
And what's the CPD, in case people don't know?
So it can be... So, for example, we do CPDs with MBS Source for architects. So it's basically, it can be a video that basically tells an architect about Harlequin. Okay. So when they're then needing to have a dance floor for their client, they'll now know what Harlequin is and the benefits of it. So we basically use it to educate architects. And they always need, I can't remember the amount, but they have to watch a certain amount, almost like credits, and they always have to do that because they've got to know the most in the industry. Yeah,
the continuous professional development, isn't it? So so it's you creating video. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So lovely. So you did a German one.
Yeah.
And how's your German?
Rubbish. Don't know German at all. But because of that, we needed a voiceover. So what I'm working on at the moment is actually using AI to generate those voiceovers. And we've got someone we work with in Germany that's kind of checked that to make sure that actually sounds legit and worth using. Because getting someone to do the voiceover can be really expensive and take a big chunk of the marketing budget. So now I'm able to use AI in that sense to actually generate a voiceover, which is quite fun.
Amazing. Yeah. We were using it the other day on a video, getting a transcript and then asking it to help pick out the best bits that would work for little social media clips and things like that. Because again, like you could have a transcript of if you've ended up filming, well, a podcast like this could be 40 minutes to an hour. And then it's like, how do I find the best bits? Because they're all brilliant. Yeah. But actually getting it, because it can be a bit more, we're a bit emotional as humans, aren't we? So you're like, I like that bit. I like that. I can't decide. Whereas actually, put a robot in there, it goes, no, this is categorically the best comment that Hannah made. We'll use this one.
That's a good idea. I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah, definitely. It speeds up your kind of, because you can still then have opinions on it. Say like, give me the top 10 and you can then go and listen. But it just speeds up that ability.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Especially if you've got a wider team and there might be, someone that's actually doing the filming, and if someone else is doing the video editing that hasn't been able to be as present in that first process, they might not be able to actually gather what's the best thing to do. Whereas me personally, when I'm filming, I already kind of know what bits I'm going to use, because you kind of think, I remember when she said that, and you can kind of try and I almost start editing the process before I've even sat down and opened Adobe. Yeah.
That's interesting. Really interesting.
It is.
Staring at a blank screen, trying to figure out what happens after school or college, university, apprenticeships, T-levels, it's a lot to take in. But what if you could speak directly to the people who are actually hiring? NAS Events brings you events like the National Apprenticeship Show, London School and College Leavers Show, and many more. They run the UK's top career events designed specifically for students aged 15 and up. These aren't just your boring careers fairs, we're talking interactive hands-on experiences where you can meet the country's biggest employers and top universities face to face. Whether you're looking for an entry-level role, a degree apprenticeship, or a pathway into higher education, this is a regional show near you. From London and Bristol to Scotland and Newcastle. The best part, it's completely free to attend. Don't just scroll through job descriptions, come and try out new skills, get expert advice, and find career paths that actually fit you. Ready to take the next step? Head over to nasevents.co.uk to find the nearest event and register for your free place today.
And I think that in the kind of creative industry, I know that there's a lot of kind of worry because there is so much uncertainty around AI, kind of how much control it does have, what it can do, what it can't do. How do you kind of feel and navigate using that within your work? do you kind of have the worries that it could replace jobs, and how do you feel about that in your field of work?
Yeah, it can. It has already started to replace jobs. I think my job specifically, I think not as much. I think I'm quite lucky in that sense. Maybe more the social media side in terms of generating generic social media posts. I guess that can save a bit of time doing things like that. But yeah, in terms of AI, I think it's just learning how to use it without relying on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we often talk about it as like making that space for human brilliance. Like, actually, if it can take away some of the mundane bits, the bits that aren't actually that much fun, that take up your time and mean that you can't really get to the bigger picture thinking because you've got to do these things first. Actually, if you can say, oh, well, AI can do that, then you've suddenly freed up this space to kind of think more. And I think that's where, when you embrace it in that way and you're using it kind of creatively as a tool and as a sparring partner to help you in what you're doing, actually it's really, really incredible, and it can unlock more creativity that previously you struggled to get to because you were kind of stuck doing the doing the smaller bits that needed to be done. So I think we're going to see changes for sure, aren't we? And we're not even, like, you think how fast it's moved since like 2 or 3 years ago when ChatGPT started to be something that we all kind of had heard about, to where it is today. And you think the first initial kind of AI generated images where everything would have 6 fingers or whatever, actually that's all gone very quickly to the fact that actually now it creates some pretty amazing images.
Yeah. It's quite scary, some of them, how accurate they can be, the AI stuff. But
really scary.
Do you have to use it much in your studies? Does it come up at all?
Personally, I don't have to use it. I think that it can be quite easy when you start to kind of build that reliance on it. Obviously, if I'm having to read a few case studies in a night, they can be really, really, really long. And so kind of putting those cases in ChatGPT and just saying, please help me, please summarize this, just so I can get that kind of, all right, this is what I need to know and this is what I have to do. It can kind of speed up the process. It can make learning a lot easier, especially with A-level, where, as you'll know, like, kind of being in the classroom, if you miss one lesson, you can miss a whole lot of content. Kind of just having that summary, kind of having that bit of a helping hand can be really useful. But we don't have to use it. It's not an expectation, but it's always there if we want to.
And I think it's good that you are, because it's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to be part of how we work. So actually, the earlier you can start to embrace how it fits in with you and how you can use it, but still make sure you're feeling like you've got autonomy over what you're doing and that you're not kind of dumbing down your abilities, but you're using it, as you say, like, we're moving house at the moment, and I've had a contract from the solicitors that I was like, oh, I just don't really understand it. So asking it, like, break this down for me, make this so that if I was a 5-year-old I could understand this, and then suddenly it makes sense and you're like, oh, this is so much easier. But actually previously you'd have just had to kind of fight through it and have to keep going back to your lawyer saying, I don't really understand what this clause means, etc. So it's incredible the uses we've got for it, and I think it will be interesting to see where it takes us. So what's next for you? Where are you heading? Like, what are you looking forward to at the moment at work?
The biggest thing that might be coming up, I keep saying might because it's not booked yet, but as I'm global content, there's an opportunity to maybe work in Australia for a bit. So I've been doing a lot of UK testimonials, but actually we could really benefit with some more content for Australia, and kind of that side of things. So there might be an opportunity to head over there for a bit and kind of visit our biggest clients, and also the little ones as well, which are just as important to me, to be honest. And actually kind of do what I do, but a little time in Australia.
Love it.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Do you like travelling?
I love travelling. I'd be doing it all the time if I could, whether that's at work or personally as well. I love travelling.
That's good. You found a job that also helps feed a habit then. So how often do you get to travel with work?
It can vary, to be honest, and it really does depend on what projects we've got. So a lot of my travel actually has focused around a new project, a new product that we released a couple of years ago now. As I said earlier,
we've got the sprung floor for dancers, but also the opera on stage in theatre. Opera don't need a sprung floor, so we've basically designed a floor that can switch between the two. So it can be a sprung and then rigid, and that can change within seconds. And that is what a lot of my content has focused around, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of what's allowed me to travel, going to the opera houses that are having that installed, and kind of just documenting that process. So yeah, Vienna and Amsterdam are two of the cities I've been able to do go to and do that. So yeah, it definitely varies depending on what's happening.
Amazing. But bring on Australia, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping it happens, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. And it's just so lovely to have something to wake up and you love doing. And obviously, like you said, you love traveling, so I can imagine that must be amazing for you. So is that something that you would say drives you to kind of push harder, to kind of work harder? Or is there any other things that kind of give you that motivation, anything that you're working towards?
I think definitely a few years ago it was what was driving me, because being able to combine travel with what I love doing anyway, but actually work, you know, getting up at 4 a.m. and kind of getting that flight for work was really exciting. But the novelty of that has worn off a little bit, which is why I think a big Aussie project is obviously a bit more exciting. Whereas it sounds really bad, but it can also be quite draining. Even just 1 week out of the month, if I was travelling, it would obviously change my day-to-day life. And yeah, so it drives me because it's exciting, but actually also being able to have the routine back in the UK, knowing what's going on, working with the team as well. I think that drives me as well. I'm very lucky with the team I work with. So that also kind of keeps me steady and happy at work.
It's funny, isn't it? Because travel's brilliant at work, but it is a bit draining, and you lose your routine.
Yeah,
and you're not necessarily doing it with your loved ones or your close friends, or so. Yes, you might get on well with your team, but it's not quite the same, is it? You're like, oh, I want my best friend here to come and see this with me, or so. Yeah, no, it's interesting. So, closing question from me: if we could wind back and have Hannah as a 16-year-old here in the room with us today, what do you wish you could tell her about getting started in her career and what was to come that she maybe didn't know?
Oof, that's a really good question. What would I tell her? I think I would tell her to just continue doing what you love and kind of using that as almost like navigating you through what to do next, because it can be so overwhelming to even figure out what you want to do. So yeah, I think I would just tell us, just chill out, don't stress about it, what will be, because it can be very stressful.
It really can.
That's probably what I would say. Just it's gonna be all right.
Love that. It's written on our wall around the corner that says do what you love.
There you go.
Like, life is short, you've got to do what you love. Any closing questions or thoughts from yourself, Sophie?
My closing question would then be, what would your kind of word of advice be for your future self then?
Oh, advice for my future self. This is going to get me going away thinking, what do I want to do? I think, as much as it also is about doing what you love, I think don't settle. Always find ways to learn and improve. I think once I'm comfortable in what I do, I think it's very easy to get into that routine and not get stuck, but yeah, you almost get really comfortable, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think, it would be just continue moving forward and what can you do next, and kind of just always seeing what else is out there and what future opportunities are available. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much, Hannah. You have been a wonderful guest. I feel like we've learnt loads about a business that we also didn't know about before. We're going to go and be checking out some stages, I reckon. And Sophie, you've been a wonderful co-host. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you on a future episode of Behind the Future. That concludes another brilliant episode of Behind the Future. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen back to other episodes on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, as that will help us to grow this podcast, ensuring we can get the best guests on here for you to learn from. You can also follow us on socials, linked in the show notes for exclusive content. See you on the next episode.